This is a question which I think everyone will be interested in answering. I've watched you at like the British Open or the national finals at the Albert Hall or Symphony Hall, and you might be playing a piece that starts with the solo cornet, you playing some melody, piano, the Symphony Hall is packed and it's silent, and if it's Russell or it's Bram and they just go, over to you, Mark,
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? What's going on inside Mark Wilkinson? What are your strategies for anxiety and nervousness when you're playing?
So if people go on YouTube, there's a, I don't know if people know, the test piece at the British Open last year was called Dynasty by Peter Graham. And that started off with Cornet. It was a top G, E flat, A, C. Just you. And playing a top G is not the hardest note. However, when you're starting a test piece off and there's 3,000 people sat listening to you, it's extremely difficult. So certain players are different. So if it's just you starting off with no one else, the conductor would always say, do you want me to conduct you in? Or do you just want to come in? So I prefer to just come in. Some people prefer to be conducted in. The only trouble is when you're going to come in yourself, you tend to keep putting it off. So I always remember. So look at you walk in. You're trying to look confident. You try and look around in the hall. There's 3,000 people there, whatever. You've got top G to come, and you sit down, and everyone's saying, "Come on, we can do this. Come on." And then everyone's talking, and suddenly the audience goes, and it's deadly quiet. And then the conductor will then say, and then you tend to find like water out. You tend to do this quite a while. You tend to keep delaying it. So I must have. So going back to the practice, I tend to find by being structured and practicing the right things, that helps my mental well-being and helps me manage the pressure. I must have practiced that top G, that opening, probably 1,000 times. So when the test piece comes out in, usually get it around about May, I'd probably play each solo 10 times a day. If you work out 10 times a day from May to September, you're talking well over 1,000 times. Now, if your success rate is probably 90%, the chances are 9 out of 10 of those entries are going to be right. So the chances are you're going to get it right.
Yeah.
So for me, that sort of a repetitive practice helps.
That's amazing.
Prepared, there's no reason why it shouldn't. The problem with pressure is we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We all think about what happens if. Well, what happens if I split that first note? Well, if I split the first note, probably the band won't win. Well, if I split that note and the band don't win, then I might get fired. Well, if I get fired and I rely on being at the phone and the other work for my living, then I'm going to lose all my income. Gosh, well, what happens if I lose my income? Well, what am I going to do to pay me? So before I know it, I've lost my house, I've got no money, and I've not even played the top G yet. So that's the problem as players. We always think, what happens if? So I tend to try and live in the present time. I don't think about what happens if. If I do tend to start thinking about what happens if, I think about something else. And what I've always found is it's impossible to get nervous about something if you don't think about it. So if I start thinking negative, I think about something else. What should I have for my tea? What's on the telly? Just take my mind off it. And it's also.
Are you aware that you've got those things in your mind? Are you aware of it? So you've got that ready in your head, right? Okay.
I've got it ready, and I think it's trying to twist a situation from being a negative to a positive. So, for example, if I'm going onto that British Open stage and there's 3,000 people there, there's always be that can be seen quite negative. You can twist it to be, well, there's 3,000 people there. I can play my part. I'm going to show I'm the best. So you can twist a negative situation to a positive situation. And it's funny just by thinking in that sort of mental preparation and how you're going to approach something, how it can improve your playing. So playing is part of it. This is the worst part. And if we're not careful, we can talk our things out. We can talk ourselves out of doing things just by thinking about what happens if.